Hi everyone and welcome to another AAA Sunday, the show where we review AAA games. I'm Nathan and today we're looking at Mass Effect Andromeda. Before we start, just to say, minor spoilers ahead. So if you haven't played the game yet and you don't want any spoilers, then click away now. Mass Effect Andromeda takes place within the events of Mass Effect 2 and 3, giving a soft reboot to the franchise, making Andromeda fit nicely within the timeline. However, despite this, a lot of it will feel very similar to Mass Effect players. You play as Ryder, be a he or a she, who has been asleep for 600 years on flight to Andromeda Galaxy, where you wake up to loads of exposition. So much exposition, which is completely unavoidable. So much for Mass Effect being a game about choice. Your ship arrives at what is meant to be the new home for the human race. However, in 600 years, a lot can change. When heading down to New Earth, which are known as Golden Worlds within the game, you discover a new race called the N.A.M.E. These are the bad guys within the game. It is here on the New Earth where your father dies and you take his place as the Pathfinder for the human race.
Whoa. Well, if that's how it has to be.
It is from here you go on to discovering new planets and find a new place to call home. The story itself in Mass Effect Andromeda is very weak on the whole. It's very safe by BioWare as it takes so much from the original game, as it's almost identical to the first one, where you find out about another long dead race and you try to discover about it, while the main villain feels sort of evil for the sake of being evil. Yes, he does have a reason to be, but it doesn't quite fit. Also, Andromeda only adds 2 new races, with the bad guys being the cat and the Angolian. Mass Effect is a game of choice. This is shown with how you decide to do combat or how you talk to people. Unlike the originals, Andromeda has gotten rid of the Renegade and Paragon system. Instead, they've replaced it with being able to choose more options when you are given the choice to do what you want to, giving more freedom. Unfortunately, this really just comes down to you being calm and collected, a bit like Shepard, while the other options are sort of like a roguish sort of a take on it, which would be a bit like Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. Ultimately sounds cooler.
That's quite the throne. Should I bow? Kiss your ring?
The combat in Andromeda is probably one of the highlights within the game. Shooting is on par to the originals, and with the jetpack it changes up the fighting style so much compared. Where the original was more cover based, Andromeda goes with more of the fast paced sort of feel to it. With the jetpack you can hover in a position or you can easily move to flank the enemies. However, the one downside I felt was the new cover system, which can be a bit finicky. You go against something and it automatically covers. Now, I personally prefer pushing a button to do this, and I found myself instinctively doing it to make sure I was in cover, because sometimes when you think you're in cover, you're not, and you get shot a lot. Also, the other issue can be when you hover in one position, which may look cool with the jetpack, are quite an easy target and you die quite fast. So in the end you sort of play within the cover style gameplay in the original. Unlike previous games, you cannot equip new weapons to your teammates, nor really command them in battle, as you're restricted to only telling them to stay put or attack a certain enemy. For people who like the pause function in Dragon Age Inquisition, this does not exist in Mass Effect Andromeda. And as a result, it feels like there's less tactical play within this game. You also feel kinda alone in the battles, as the combos that you're supposed to be able to do with teammates happens by luck. As you can't tell a certain teammate to use a certain ability against something and then you react to that. Unfortunately, it just sort of happens when it happens. However, positive, you do still have the option to level up the character's abilities that are available to them as you want to. Going on with the abilities, those who have played the original Mass Effect games will have better advantage than those who are brand new to the series, as it's done into folders which are broken up to combat, tech and biotics. Unlike in the previous games, everything is there ready to choose from the list. Now, this can be overwhelming for people who don't know the best combinations and new players, as most won't know what does what. However, the positive is that you can customize to your heart's content. And with being able to switch profiles really fast within battle, you can sort out your abilities and quick selects really simply and go into the battle on how you see fit and change your profile depending on the situation that you are within combat. The new team feels more generic compared to the original trilogy, with only one of them being actually from the Andromeda galaxy, while the rest of the team is made up of 2 humans, Cronin called Drac, who is basically the new Rex, Vectra, who is a female Garrus, and Peebee, who is your rogue renegade sort of character, who's just into all the tech. I didn't find myself falling in love with the characters as much as I did the original trilogy. I had to dig through hours and hours of gameplay till their personal side quest stories really shine through. And this is a shame because they're really well wrote when they start get going, and they are actually interesting. Despite this, every time I was on the Tempest, I still had the urge to go around and talk to everyone. Unfortunately, this was more because I could rather than I wanted to. I didn't really feel the need to really get to know my characters better. One of the big positives for all Mass Effect players is that the Nomad works. The Nomad is easy to handle, and when you travel across planets, it's not that boring, as it's not as simple as just hitting accelerate and going. With the simple little minor touches of with changing gear to go up hills, and also the jump jets really adds a new twist to the Nomad and brings a bit more life to it. Presentation is where the game has a major pitfall. Andromeda is a galaxy filled with bugs, glitches, and terrible facial animations. While playing, I came across a lot of frame rate drops. In combat, the whole game would slow right down, taking away from the fast action that it was meant to provide. And when driving the Nomad in the game, it would sometimes completely pause, and I have to wait a few minutes until it loaded up the next section. Also, textures were constantly being loaded when talking or just traveling throughout the world or going through a city. Characters going across my conversations as it's set in a lifetime, not a cutscene. I've been lucky in my playthrough though to not have some major game break glitches that I have seen and that some have suffered through. However, the facial animations on the aliens is not as noticeable as it is on the humans. Because it's beyond noticeable on the humans, and it really throws you out of the immersion when it happens, which the game is really trying to get you into. And it's not just the facial animations either, the running animations as well, just let's not go there. Even the trophies are bugged on the PS4 version. I don't know about the Xbox One with achievements, as I only played the PS4 version. For example, there was one for gaining the Tempest. Didn't pop for me, despite me flying it to many different planets. I still haven't got it. There is positives in presentation in Andromeda. This mainly comes down to the planets themselves, where they're all each diverse from one another. No planet's really the same, and this goes for the ones that you visit and the ones you can see. The ones that you visit and actually go onto, yes, they are quite open and empty, unfortunately. But what is there is actually really beautiful, and when the textures do load, they are really nicely done. And the background scenery is absolutely impeccable for what they've done with the game. The ones that you see are actually really well done as well, where if there's a storm happening on a planet, you can see it, or if there's lava running for another planet, you can also see that as well, and they're really distinct between each other. The other positive in presentation with Andromeda is when you travel to each system or another planet, as now it is done in POV, which gives a nice immersion, and the transitions are really beautiful between each one. However, when you discover a meteorite or a mineral deposit, the camera decides to move behind it and cut right through it every time. However, this doesn't happen with the planets. As much as I want to defend this game so badly, being a fan of the Mass Effect trilogy and the Mass Effect games in a whole, unfortunately Mass Effect Andromeda is a letdown. It does try to provide that old classic field discovery that the other ones brought in, but with only access to the 5 planets that you can actually visit and the rest are all to just look at, it sort of takes that away. And with glitches nearly as bad as a freshly released Bethesda game, it just doesn't hold up compared, unfortunately. There is a silver lining, however, for those who are fans of the original Mass Effect trilogy, because there are shining moments within this game. Unfortunately, it's just hidden underneath it all, and there are throwbacks to the original series, which I won't spoil in this review. I feel this game is going to have a divide of people who love it and hate it. For me, I'm undecided, as I did enjoy moments that kept it interesting, and I'm overjoyed over the fact that the Nomad actually works, unlike the Mako. I recommend either waiting or borrowing it off a friend to give it a go. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me your thoughts on Mass Effect Andromeda in the comments below. Click here to subscribe to the N.A.M.E channel for more content, and if you like this video, check out my other review of Horizon Zero Dawn. Or if film's more your thing, check out the Film Thoughts by Adam, who is also a member of the N.A.M.E channel. Thanks for watching, until the next time.